For nearly 4 years now, the Biden-Harris administration is engaged in what we know is a big government socialist experiment, and they've done it at our peril. It was always doomed to fail. Those experiments always are. But they don't look at reality all the time. And so every time we turn around, they're trying to do more of what that ideology requires. They want another government program. They want another federal agency. They want more IRS agents. They want more taxes. They want more government spending. And now candidate or Comrade Kamala Harris, as President Trump is known to call her now, wants to take it to a whole different level. I mean, if you follow her around on her little campaign speeches, all she's talking about is more centralized price controls and new government spending programs, and everybody gets a car. You know, it's like Oprah's running for president. And no one's asked her how to pay for it yet, by the way, of course, and if they did, she wouldn't have a clue how to explain that. I wish somebody would give her a tough question. I wish she would do a real interview, but that's not on her agenda. And they suggest that they can spend your money better than you can and that you're going to be better off for it. And how's that working out for us? Everybody knows the results. I've been all over the country. As I mentioned, I go north, south, east to west, everywhere. And I go to the blue states and the swing districts and the places we're sometimes not expected to be. And the story is the same everywhere. We've got too many hardworking Americans that are struggling to get by. They really are. And it's real. The struggle is real. Every corner of the country, grocery bills have nearly doubled in the last 4 years. Many families are having to put their groceries on credit cards now, and they tell us about that with tears in their eyes. This is not a sustainable situation. They're resorting to extreme measures, many families now, just to stay afloat and to avoid the repossession of their cars and their homes. The website GoFundMe reported this just a while ago. Fundraising pages set up to avoid home eviction are up 40% since last year alone. I mean, this is a desperate time. And it's no surprise that rent is up 20% since Biden and Harris took office. And so college graduates have had to move back in with their parents, and young married couples are delaying the purchase of a home and starting a family. It has real-world consequences for everybody. Small business owners, meanwhile, and job creators are hurting every sector of the economy. They're struggling under the crushing weight of inflation and hyper-regulation. And I've met fourth and fifth generation family businesses that are on the verge of collapse right now. And you talk about the mournful mood of a meeting like that when they've been trying to sustain it. They're trying to keep their head above water, and they're just about done. And because of the Biden-Harris policies, the current forecast is really bleak. In less than 4 years, Americans have gone from the highest level of personal savings to now the lowest. Now more than half of Americans are unable to afford a $1,000 unforeseen emergency. Today, American families can only put 3% of their income into savings for those who are still trying to do it, the lowest consistent level for the past 20 years. And with those reduced savings, Americans now have accumulated far greater debt, and we all know those stories as well. The average American now faces $6,300 of credit card debt, and it mounts every day. And we're all facing the highest credit card interest rates ever and the highest levels of credit card delinquency since the Great Recession. These are real facts and real numbers that no one wants to talk about on the other side. It's no secret why Americans' pocketbooks or saving accounts are getting squeezed. For that, we can thank Bidenomics. And the head cheerleader of Bidenomics, of course, was Kamala Harris. It's her price hikes. She owns it. She co-owns the policy. She said she was the last person in the room every time when the big decisions were made. We'll take her at her word. Sorry. According to MIT economists, inflation spiked to the highest level in 40 years because of the reckless trillion-dollar spending sprees under this president, vice president. And today, all our grocery bills and utility bills and everything is painfully more expensive. Eggs are up 47%, coffee 21%, baby food and formula 30%, fuel 49%, electricity 32%. It goes on and on and on. And the prices on everyday goods are forcing the average American household to pay an additional $13,000 each year just to maintain the same standard of living that they had just a few years ago. I mentioned mortgage payments a few moments ago. They're now costing the average family an additional $15,000 per year. That's real money. And while the price of homes, which are up 39% from when Biden and Harris took office, are now putting the dream of home ownership further out of reach for more people. It's a sad situation, and it doesn't have to be like this. When it's all added up, the Kamala Harris economy, Americans have reduced savings, greater debt, higher prices, and they have fewer full-time jobs and reduced paychecks. That is not a formula for success. We cannot do this for 4 more years. From June 23 to June 24, Americans lost 1.6 full-time jobs, 1.6 million full-time jobs, and the only area where we saw job gains were in part-time work. And why is that? That's because everybody has to get multiple part-time jobs just to keep up, just to put food on the table. We've also seen median household income decrease by 4.7% since 2019. And now in every major sector of the economy, Americans are working more hours for less pay. It shouldn't surprise us. This dire situation has led to a third of Gen Z and millennials to think the American dream doesn't exist anymore. It's out of their reach. And it's caused one-third of recent retirees to consider returning to work just so that they can make ends meet. Whatever metric you use, I mean, we could do this all day. We all know the stats. It's inflation, home prices, the ability to retire, the level of debt, the level of savings. Americans are worse off in every measurable category.